Hi all everybody, students, hope all are fine. I am Murali from Murali's channel, especially of online education, learning biology easy way. In continuation of the last session where we have seen plant anatomy, now we are going to see about plant physiology. As I said last session as well, please ensure that you have a notepad or a note, better not a piece of paper, a kind of note or a notepad with a pen, so that you can make note of the notes what I am telling. It will be easy for your reference. Fine. And coming directly into the topic, plant physiology. See, physiology, as earlier we saw about anatomy, it is the structure. Physiology is about the functioning. What structures are there, and then how it is function, all these things comes under physiology. In this we need to learn about plastids. That's what in plant, about plastids. So it's a double membrane. Plastids are double membrane in the plant, which has three categories based on the color. Like green plastids we call chloroplast, orange, red, yellow we call chromoplast, and colorless plastids are there, they are leucoplast. So chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. So these are the three types of plastids which has based on color. So we go through directly into chloroplast, because that is the important aspect as far as this 3 is concerned. So when we go in detail about chloroplast, it consists of a pigment called as chlorophyll, and as a chloroplast is green plastid. So this green plastids are because of the presence of pigment chlorophyll. The green color for the plant is because of the presence of chlorophyll in chloroplast. This is actually, this chloroplast, when we go through the structure of chloroplast, it's an important aspect, because we need to know what actually the chloroplast is made up of, how it is differentiated, things and all. So this chloroplast, you can see here the structure where it is categorized into the structure has 4 things. It's in size wise, we can say diameter it is hardly 2 to 10 micrometer, and in length hardly 1 to 2 micrometer. So it's very minute, which is of course present in green plants. So this particular chloroplast has 4 things structure wise. Number 1, envelope. This envelope is having inner membrane and outer membrane. So this 2 membrane together is envelope. This 2 membranes, inner membrane and outer membrane, has a connection. In between there is a intermembrane. The space is occupied by intermembrane. So remember, envelope has inner membrane and outer membrane. In between these 2, inner membrane and outer membrane, there is a space called as intermembrane. So this is regarding envelope is concerned. The next is stroma. So this stroma is a matrix. So matrix is kind of group where this particular is filled up inside the membrane. The main function of this particular stroma is to synthesize proteins. It synthesizes proteins actually. So this stroma, as I said, it's a matrix. It's a matrix of thylakoids and grana, because we are going to see about the third type is thylakoid and fourth one is grana. Third and thylakoids are it consists of again thylakoid membrane. Thylakoids consist of thylakoid membrane, where it's a place where photosynthetic pigments get developed, get produced. So this particular photosynthetic pigments produced in thylakoids. Thylakoids forms in the form of like a disc like structure, like one above other, like a disc. So this each disc is named as granum, and together it called as grana, which is the fourth type. So first one is envelope, second one is stroma, the third one is thylakoid, and the fourth one is grana. So grana, as said in the earlier, it's a thylakoid which is formed like disc-like stack structure, one above the other. So together it is grana. Individually, singularly, we call it as grana. So thylakoid, grana together forms into a matrix called as stroma, and then the stroma is inside the membrane, which is together called as envelope. So envelope, stroma, thylakoids, and the fourth one is grana. So these four things together forms the structure of a chloroplast, which you can see in the diagram which is given here. Next we have to see about the function. What is the function of chloroplast? Chloroplast has functions like photosynthesis, which is an important aspect, and then storage of food, storage of lipids, synthesis of fatty acids. All these things comes under functions of chloroplast. Remember, please take notes in between. The terms and all is very clear. I am making a note, as well as a picture is always been shown for the understanding. So this particular chloroplast function has several functions like photosynthesis, storage of food, storage of lipids, synthesis of proteins, fatty acids, etc. But photosynthesis is a main function that we are going to see in detail, because photosynthesis is a very important part. Now coming to what is photosynthesis and what are the photosynthetic pigments, and how sunlight is more important for photosynthesis, where it gets produced, where it is formed. All these things we are going to see in photosynthesis. From the name itself, photosynthesis, photo is light and synthesis is building up. So building up of with the help of light, that's what photosynthesis. In this in this process has using carbon dioxide and water, mixing, like combining carbon dioxide combines with water in the presence of sunlight, like energy, the solar energy created or utilized, which gets converted into electrical and chemical energy. Solar energy, light energy, gets converted into electrical and chemical energy. This is what happens in the photosynthesis process with the help of chlorophyll. So carbon dioxide with water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. In the presence of sunlight, in the sense like that light is utilized for the autotrophic organisms, especially. See, when I say autotrophic organisms, autotrophy is the process of organisms which utilizes its own food. It utilizes its own food. That's what autotrophs. So here, autotrophic organisms like plants, green plants, algae, and then some bacteria are there which contains chlorophyll. Some bacteria which contains chlorophyll, because chlorophyll is very, very important. Which is presence of chlorophyll, we know it's green in color. So this particular autotrophic organisms utilizes the energy from the sunlight, which converts the light energy is converted into chemical energy. So this is what happens in the photosynthetic process. That should be very, very remembered properly. Photo, lighting, and building up. The process, that's what the process I said. With the help of sunlight, the light energy gets converted into chemical energy, and the final product is carbohydrates. It's converted into carbohydrates in the presence. So simple, it's very simple. So that particular process is photosynthesis. In this photosynthesis process, we need to know what are the pigments. There are some pigments present for the formation of all these things. When we talk about pigments, we need to know about pigment system. There are two pigment systems. One is reaction center and the other one is harvesting center. So reaction center has one pigment type, which is nothing but primary pigment. primary pigment is the chlorophyll. So remember, chlorophyll is a primary pigment which helps in converting light to chemical, light energy to chemical energy. So that is why it is called as reaction center. So chlorophyll is the reaction primary pigment which helps in converting from light energy to chemical energy. So that pigment system is nothing but reaction center. The other one is harvesting center, has accessory pigment. So these accessory pigments are chlorophyll B and carotenoids. But this is observing, the transforming energy is getting observed. So that is a kind of accessory pigment. So that is why it is called as harvesting pigment system. So remember, two types of pigment system. One is reaction center, the other one is harvesting system center. So this reaction center has primary pigment which is nothing but chlorophyll, and the harvesting center has accessory pigment which are chlorophyll B and carotenoids. This is actually related to pigment and pigment system and what are the pigments present. When it comes to where exactly this photosynthesis happens, as I said, this requires sunlight. Sunlight is very important, and chlorophyll in the presence of carbon dioxide combines with water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll to convert into carbohydrates. So this is, since it requires the presence of chlorophyll, it found in green plants, algae, all these places. So all green plants where it is green in color, where chlorophyll presence, photosynthesis happens. So there is no green color, there is no green plant, no photosynthesis. Clear? Fine. So you know what is photosynthesis and what are the photosynthetic pigments present and where this photosynthesis happens. Now coming to the sunlight, because chlorophyll is very important, in the presence only it happens. Same way sunlight. So as I said earlier, I am repeating, photosynthesis is a process where the process happens from when carbon dioxide from air mixes with the water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. In the presence of sunlight means the light energy is getting absorbed, converted into chemical energy. So this chemical energy is converted with the help of sunlight and chlorophyll, and we saw about the chlorophyll. Now this, in this sunlight, how it is getting formed. There are two types in that one, with sunlight and without light. With sunlight and without light. So one scientist named Robin Hill, in the year 1939, he discovered a reaction called as light reaction. A light reaction is nothing but this particular chlorophyll, with the presence of chlorophyll and in the presence of sunlight, carbohydrates is formed when carbon dioxide mixes with the water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, which means that is light reaction. So this light reaction is first one. The second one is called as dark reaction, in the absence of light. So why it is absence of light? Because when it happens, this light reaction which is happening in the thylakoid, we know what is thylakoid because photosynthetic pigments are present in thylakoids. Earlier we saw the structure of chloroplast, we saw stroma, envelope, we saw stroma, and then thylakoids, and then grana. This thylakoid is the place where photosynthetic pigment happens. So this particular light reaction which happens in the photosynthetic place, thylakoids, it converts from light energy to chemical energy. Chemical energy in the sense it converts into ATP and NADPH2. ATP is nothing but adenosine triphosphate. NADPH is nothing but nicotinamide diphosphate. So these two are the chemical energy which get converts from light. Because this particular chemical energy, once it converts, it goes to stroma. From thylakoids, this particular chemical energy goes to stroma. So this light reaction is the conversion from the thylakoids since photosynthetic pigments are there, this thylakoids in which energy gets converted, light energy gets converts to chemical energy, ATP and NADPH2. So that's we know finally how carbohydrates is formed. This particular light energy conversion, chemical energy, ATP and NADPH2 goes to stroma, and that place where stroma happens is dark reaction, because in stroma there is no light. Only in photosynthetic places light happens, because in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. In stroma, where no light is present, in the absence of light in stroma, this particular conversion changes into carbohydrates, formation of carbohydrates, and that particular dark reaction was founded by Melvin Kelvin. He is an American biochemist who founded this particular dark reaction. Since his name is Kelvin and who founded this dark reaction, this can be called as also Kelvin cycle. So we have light reaction, Hill, Robin Hill has found out, and then the dark reaction is found by Kelvin, and it is named as Kelvin cycle. The dark reaction is named as Kelvin cycle. So the first one, light reaction happens in with the sunlight, with the presence of light, and dark reaction, absence of light, which happens in stroma. So this is actually the process of light reaction and dark reaction. So with this, the functioning of plant is complete, starting from chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. We dealt with the chloroplast, the structure, what are the things present in chloroplast and how the functions, and what is the function of chloroplast, how this chloroplast in which the main function photosynthesis happens, what is photosynthesis and what are the pigments present in photosynthesis, and how, where it is happening, and with the sunlight, without the sunlight, light reaction, dark reaction. All these things comes under physiology. In our next session, we will be seeing about the mitochondria, which is a powerhouse, because of the respiration, how respiration happens, through which cell organelle, mitochondria, how this respiration happens, because we have two types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic. What is aerobic respiration? Before that one, we need to see about the structure and function of mitochondria, because that is a powerhouse where the respiration happens, and with the presence of oxygen aerobic, and without presence of oxygen anaerobic. So this two we have to see in the next session. With this I complete plant physiology part, the next part in the next session. So hope you can you all understand about this concept of anatomy, and then this coming physiology, and then once mitochondria and aerobic and anaerobic respiration part is over, physiology will be complete. Please ensure you subscribe this channel and keep watching my succeeding videos, so you understand. Any feedback, anything, any suggestion, please message me in the comment section, so that I can make some changes. Students, hope you are enjoying. Please do take care of yourself. Be safe, because this is again COVID-19 period is still going on, though it is almost changes happen, but we cannot say anything as such, and we need to be very careful. So please be careful, be safe, take care of yourself. See you in the next session of respiration, plant respiration. Thank you all. Take care. See you.